How did you even get to this space now,
To where I am, like
to where you are? Yeah.
I started with, have you ever heard of the book, like The 1 Minute Manager? It sounds silly. It's like a 20-page story. Like it's not even that big of a story by Spencer Johnson, and it's more of a parable. And it talks
Okay.
about the 1 minute manager is somebody who gives 1 minute praises and 1 minute coachings and then 1 minute discussions. Like you celebrate the small, tiny things. And Spencer Johnson and Ken Blanchard, that's another name.
Okay.
These ones, they wrote a book, not just a book, like that's the smallest version of their teachings, but they did a much larger, I want to call it like class where it's called situational leadership. And I saved up a bunch of money to go to a situational leadership course. And I couldn't get it. Like I signed up for it and I wasn't able to get it. And instead I took a Dale Carnegie course on
Mm,
public speaking. And with that money, I was like, okay, I'm going to take this. And this was just before I hit the lowest part of my addiction, where I thought I'm going to take this course and it's going to change my life and it's going to change everything around. And it
mm,
didn't. I took the course. It's a very valuable course, but I
mhm.
don't think it would have mattered what course I took. I don't think I would have changed. It would not have motivated me to want to change my life. It did add skills to me. It did add to
Mhm.
my toolkit, but I wasn't in a position to. It wasn't the kick in the pants that I needed. Is a
Yeah.
nice way to say it.
Yeah.
And this was the summer before I went to treatment, before I admitted I had a problem with alcohol, and
Mhm.
I ended up taking the course. And while it was filled with good knowledge, next to next to that course was like downtown Calgary. I'm in Calgary, Alberta. So downtown Calgary is, it's a super fun place. And next to that course location, they rented a building somewhere. And next to that building was a, it's not a treatment center, but it's like a walk-in place for
Yeah.
addicts. And I would see them on my way to the course and I could see them struggling, and it made it visual. It made it heartbreaking. And I was like, that
Right.
could be me. That was, when you can see it, it's different. When you can smell it, it's different. It anchors it to an
Mhm.
experience. And getting that small taste of it, I was like, okay, I need to change. I need to shift. I need something more than what I'm facing with. Because it's, if I
Mhm.
don't change, things are going to get worse. Things are going to get out of control. Not that
Right.
this course motivated me to do it, but just being close to it in proximity, seeing the, if you play the tape to the end and you start seeing other people at that result,
Yes.
okay, that can be scary. That can be a scary thought.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I did eventually go to treatment, and I did end up going to a 9 week program. It was in house and, or inpatient treatment, they call it, where you go off the grid for weeks. And it was also in Calgary, but we ended up, we had these funny like requirements, and you had to do all these things. Like you had to do chores every morning. You had to go to a morning meeting, an afternoon meeting, an
Mhm.
evening meeting after dinner. And there's all these requirements. And if you didn't hit all your meetings, you were asked not to come back. And it was really kind of a
Right.
scary moment for me. And one of the places we had to go to meetings was the exact place that was next to the course place,
Right.
where I was no longer walking by it. I now had to walk in it. I had to
Mhm.
walk through it. And just like that experience of seeing it on the outside and being afraid, now I'm going to
Mhm.
see it, confront it. And not that it's a scary place, but I made it scary in my head. I don't know if you can relate to
Yes.
it, where I built it up to
Totally.
being like, oh, I can
Yes.
see those people struggling, and that's not me. I'm fine. I'm okay. I'm going to make it. I'm strong. I can truck through it. When inside I was an empty shell and horror, like underneath the facade, underneath the
Mhm.
mask. I don't know
Mhm.
if you can relate to that, where now I'm in a position where I went to that place continuously, like habitually, to get my
Yes.
meetings done. And then I could contribute and I can help. That was a very eye-opening experience. That was a very, like, I've never shared that, but that's something that I hold on to even to this day, years later. I remember that feeling. I remember the smell.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
That kind of thing you can't see and experience and not have it change you.
Totally. No, I
That's how I got
totally,
here.
yeah. Thank you so much for opening your heart up and sharing this. How, like, and I think for all of you who are watching, just think about something that you've been wanting to change, or you've wanted to change so bad that you like. I want to point out in Jason, in your story, you had that point where you just slowed down and you truly made a decision for yourself.
Mhm.
Right? You made the decision to change. I think that is the first thing always. And I always talk about this in my teachings is like the power that we have is choice. It's first it's our power of choice, and then the other power is our imagination, right? And like you had
Right.
mentioned, right? Like
You
your
make it the worst.
brain had gone to imagining the worst case scenario and was like, okay, no, I don't want to be that, right? But at the same time, we can use our imagination to create something amazing for us as well and to see
Mhm.
what is possible, right? But the thing is, like, as long as we have a fear brain, our brain is going to go into, let's just create the worst case scenario,
Yeah.
right? And so, but that's where our fear brain does work for us, right? Like, it
Mhm.
does help us show, like, it does show us kind of all the possibilities. And then we get to make a decision as to how we want to follow through on it, how we
Right.
want to respond to it.